Hey guys, it's M4J here, and welcome back to the M4J network here on OpenTTD. Now, it's been a couple of weeks since I recorded my last video here. Obviously, the last episodes were a 3-part series, so you have to bear with me if I'm a little bit rusty and out of practice. And already I'm struggling to think of things to say. So yes, last time out we built the, was it Broadworth Falls, I think it's called, freight terminal. And that seems to have gone down very, very well amongst you all. So I thought, why not continue jumping on the freight bandwagon and continue doing some freight work. So this week, I'm starting to explore a project that I was talking about on the Discord the other day. And some people were for it, some people were against it. I think if I explain it a little bit better now, it will make more sense to you guys. Especially those of you who weren't entirely sure that this was a good thing to do. So basically, the idea I pitched was have the freight terminals, as well as being logistics hubs that link other freight terminals together, also have them be their own operational hubs, where goods are actually delivered to for profit and also picked up from to then be taken somewhere else to be delivered for profit. Now, I can't give away too many spoilers right now, but let's say next week's episode I rebuild one of the existing freight terminals on the map, and I've been testing out that theory using that new terminal, and it seems to be working really, really well. So the basic premise, the idea that I had was to have, let's say, Lanningway Industrial Estate, because it kind of does act more like a hub rather than a logistics terminal, where stuff actually gets delivered and then stuff gets picked up. Hang on, I need to come up with some terms here because I'm already not explaining this very well. Basically, Guard City North and Guard City South freight terminals, they're passive hubs. So nothing is meant to get delivered there for profit, or nothing's meant to be picked up from industries around those two freight terminals. But then you've got ones like Lanningway and even Broadworth Falls to an extent, where things are delivered to the industries that are around those terminals, and they're more of a, what's the opposite of passive? I don't want to say aggressive because that's not right. Non-passive, I'm just going to refer to them as for now until I can come up with a better term. So Guard City North and South are passive terminals. It's really just for transferring goods from one train to another, and doing that on a mass scale. And then you've got the non-passive hubs, which are like, Lanningway is an example of. I don't know why I can't speak suddenly. I've been really succinct today, and now I'm recording, and I've just turned into gobbledygook again. But the non-passive ones, which is where there are industries around the terminal, and trains specifically arrive there to deliver goods for money. I want to try and make the freight more profitable. And right now, actually looking at my profit loss, it is profitable. And it looks to be profitable mostly through the night, but I'm going to try and work it so that it also makes money during the day. But yeah, so these freight terminals, they're non-passive freight terminals. The idea is to also have truck stops, docks, and in some cases airports as well, where goods will then be collected by other vehicles and will then be delivered to local industries. So an example of that I used on the Discord was Sindwood Industrial Park, which is up on the Great Northern Line near Honingville. We actually have a lot of trains calling there now. We have coal trains, and I believe, actually no, just coal trains that also deliver iron ore, calling there. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat as well. We also have metal trains that arrive to pick things up, and I think there are 1 or 2 other logistics trains that come through to carry goods elsewhere. Now, Sindwood is on the list to be rebuilt in time. I'm coming up with some ideas right now. Next week's video is actually the example of what I could do with a rebuild. So you'll see how that can then be incorporated into other designs. I've gone really, really, really left field next week with the design. I think some of you will be quite surprised. I'm going to tease it after this week's video goes up. I'm going to tease it with some images on the Discord, if I remember. But yeah, Sindwood also now has a new service that goes from Sindwood up through Honingville Station to Honingville Train Factory. You remember right the way back at the start of this series, I think it was like episode 3, I built a set of freight platforms at Honingville Train Factory right next to the sidings that are used to store trains. So not in the train factory sidings themselves, but on the south side of the site, right next to the main line that runs up towards Warnbridge, there's actually a pair of freight platforms. And those now accommodate a Class 08. I think they're called Gronks, aren't they? Like Diesel from Thomas and Friends. I hate saying Thomas and Friends. It's Thomas the Tank Engine till I die, I swear. But yeah, Class 08, hauling a couple of flatbeds that have metal on. I'm going to run something similar for petrol as well, because I have a way now to get petrol to and from Sindwood and just around the map in general. But yeah, that was the idea I had, was to have like last mile services, I think I called them. So something might get delivered to a freight terminal, and then from that freight terminal, there might be an industry that's just out of reach of that freight terminal. And instead of expanding the freight terminal to meet that industry, instead I've got like a fleet of trucks or a boat or a short haul train that will actually run that last section. And as well as delivering goods to that factory, it should then pick up goods from that factory, bring them back to the terminal to then be conveyed elsewhere. That's the plan. That is the plan. We'll see how it goes. The experiment I've been doing on this other freight terminal that I've rebuilt has been going really, really well, like I said. So I think this is a promising idea, but we will see how well it goes when the time comes. Now, today's episode, you're already seeing it, I think. I've got some problems with Premiere right now, so I can't actually watch the preview of the video whilst I'm recording the voiceover. So I record the voiceover separately in Audacity, and then I switch back to Premiere and just match the footage to the audio. That's why I'm not talking about specific things happening on the screen right now, and it's why I haven't been doing that for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks now. Is because my Premiere is just doing funny things. I'm going to try and fix it so I can get back to doing that. But overall, you're not really missing too much from that. It's mainly I get to the point where I'm just distracted watching the video and forget to talk. But what I'm doing today is working on a larger scale idea of that last mile as well. So the whole project that I've been working on with the freight is to have these satellite terminals around the map. These big satellite terminals, multi-track, hugely spread out, behemoth terminals, basically. So Broadworth Falls is the largest one I've built so far. I think Guard City South is the second largest. Guard City North is not too far behind. Landing Way is also roughly the same size as Guard City North. Broadworth Falls is by far the largest because at the moment it is the only terminal in that part of the map. It's the only terminal south and east of Denston. So I had to sort of do it properly or not do it at all. North and south you can technically combine into a single terminal as well. Broadworth Falls is technically 2 terminals. Split east and west, so north and south for Guard City. That also kind of makes sense. One has raw goods, one has processed, and then you've also got Morningpool Falls, Sindwood Industrial Park, and then Lanning Way. They're the 5 major terminals that are technically 7, but 5. Let's just say 5 for the sake of argument. Now, along with those, we also have things like is it Bedtown? It's not Bedtown, is it? What's the... Oh, Benpool, sorry, Coal Mine, which is going to be expanded in the future to have a logging company built right next to it as well. That is the plan. More on that in the future. Might be a couple of weeks. I'm just thinking. I've got footage recorded for the next 2 episodes after this one. So 3 weeks' time, you will probably see that getting built. I've got some really cool ideas for that as well. Hopefully they all work out. Because I'm trying to get more high-paying industry types into the game now. Oil is by far the highest still. And I've got some boats working on that for me. In fact, I'm just looking at them now. Yep, they seem to all be working still, which is fantastic. So yeah, Benpool Coal Mine. That's a feeder rather than a receiver, I suppose. I'm trying to think of the terms used in Factorio for... It's like passive providers and passive requesters. That's it. So Benpool is a provider, but it can also be a requester because it accepts things like engineering supplies. Once we get the lumber or the logging station attached to it as well, it might require other things too. You've then got these new satellite hubs that I was talking about that accept goods as well as just transferring them. They are both requesters and providers. Whoops, just knocking things on the floor now as well. And then you've got stations like Sindwood, which are more requesters than providers. They do provide goods into the network as well, but they mostly request things. For example, coal, iron ore, and scrap metal to make metal. So you've got 3 different types of commodity going into a single commodity. That's why Sindwood is on the block to be rebuilt right now, because the way the station works currently is not very feasible. And the rebuild that I do next week, I think it is, I'm sure it's next week, I think it's episode 97, that is a better idea as to how these new stations will work. It's also multi-leveled as well, which I found really cool. So yeah, the stations you see me building in today's episode, we have a coal acceptor, and I'm trying to think, hang on, let me just scooch over there on the map. You'll also see me build some new like branch lines, freight only lines, to link up several of these main lines together. So on the east coast, we bypass Keddingston Y, so we run from Nonbourne up past Dudhatton Ridge, and then we connect up with the main line again just north of that. And then that allows trains to run to this new station that I'm building, or stations that I'm building. So we have Fooding Hall Industrial Park, and we also have Fooding Hall Steel Mill, and they're both requesters and providers. So Fooding Hall Industrial Park accepts chemicals, clay, coal, livestock, manufacturing supplies, recyclables, sand and timber, and then produces things like engineering supplies, building materials, food, and I think the rest are all just building materials and stuff again. There's also a port nearby that I should probably link up as well, but we'll see. And then Fooding Hall Steel Mill accepts coal, iron ore and scrap metal, and then produces, of course, metal. In fact, metal is getting produced right now and should be getting transported, but isn't. Do I have I think I do have a train. I do have a train that comes down and picks up metal. Why that's not happening right now, I do not know. Also, my phone is pinging. I should probably put it on silent whilst I'm recording like a professional would. There we go. So yeah, these new satellite stations, the idea is every train that goes through these requester provider stations should be making a profit. So right now I have coal trains that run to Fooding Hall Steel Mill, and then I have metal trains that run back and pick up metal from Fooding Hall Steel Mill. Eventually in the future I will also have trains that drop off chemicals, clay, coal, livestock, manufacturing supplies, recyclables, sand and timber to Fooding Hall Industrial Park, and then we'll pick up all of the produced goods from there, and then we'll take them back to wherever they need to go. And every train should leave every station at least 50% full. Unless, of course, it's the last station on the journey, in which case it will run empty, as you'd expect. So I'm just scanning back down to Broadworth Falls for a second just to see what's waiting here. So yeah, there's a ton of iron ore and there's a ton of coal waiting. It says I can see metal on the platform here as well, but I don't think there is any. I also have a problem right now that I've just got goods being picked up randomly, because sometimes when goods spawn, not just goods, but other goods as well, like food I had a problem with for a while. The train accepts food, so food is produced and loaded onto the train, but because Cargo Dist hasn't had a chance to calculate the route yet, it doesn't have a destination. So I've got goods, food, and I think manufacturing supplies that are currently just doing laps of the network because they've got nowhere to go. That will get fixed. Eventually I'll have a train that goes to a station that accepts food and accepts goods, and that will then, the goods will eventually find their way onto that train and will then get delivered, and hopefully we'll make money off it. But I think the amount of time that they've spent swinging around the network right now will probably make a loss, but it's not the end of the world. We will make a loss on some services. Right now, M4J rail freight, profit this year 7.4 million, profit last year 1.4 million, but I'm currently at 1 AM. My day length factor, did I say it was on 35 now? Something like that. And if I look at the company as a whole, I am still hemorrhaging money actually, but last year, no, 2 years ago, in-game years, I spent 1.9 billion on construction, 1.7 billion on new vehicles, and I lost 3.7 billion. So we very nearly made a profit, and there are some years where we do squeak a profit. So it is doable. The trains make somewhere between 1 and 2 billion at the moment, so I need to increase that. And then so road vehicle is starting to increase. Ship income is actually very aircraft income is very encouraging, and then ship income is progressing. I will eventually jump back to ships and planes. Again, it's all part of this overall logistics network that I'm building. I will have some freight carrying aircraft, cargo aircraft, and I've already got a couple of oil tankers running up and down the west coast. You'll see why next week. And I'm constantly expanding this new freight terminal that I've built with using existing lines to add extra stations in and around. So this is another example that I was talking about, where you have an overall terminal where things might get delivered to industries, but you also have things that get delivered just to be transferred to other trains that are heading off around the network. But now you also have other trains that run from, it's the Honingville train factory example again. You have trains that run from these major terminals, just a couple of tiles out of reach basically, to other industries in and around the area. So they should be money makers purely because they're constantly making trips to places where they're delivering goods. So they should be making money overall. But I've got some of them that also pick up goods from the new station and then bring them back to the terminal. So they should make some transfer credits off that as well. I'm still trying to get my head around exactly how transfer credits work, especially when you've got extended day length factors and things like that. The truth is, I haven't got the foggiest. If someone does know, please let me know. And yeah, just let me know what you think about these ideas in general. I'm not saying they're the best ideas I've ever had. I'm really sort of reaping the rewards right now from this project. I think it's working really, really well, but I want to hear what you guys think, because I know there was a lot of skepticism in the Discord when I first suggested it. I didn't do a very good job of explaining it. Now I've explained it, things might be a little bit different, but I'm very, very curious to hear what you guys think. So do let me know in the comments down below. And also, while you're there, whether you want to have a chat on the Discord about this or whether you want to comment down below. Episode 99 is the next one I'll be recording, and then after that it's the big 100. So I don't want to jump into 99 or 100 yet, just in case someone has a really, really good idea that might take 2 or 3 episodes to actually do. So, episode 100, big landmark. This would be, I think, the 5th or 6th series I've ever done to get to 100 episodes, so I always like to mark it off with a big celebration. If you have any ideas for how to celebrate episode 100, I imagine the general answer is going to be network tour. That's going to be a huge, huge ask. I will try, but I can't make any promises. Especially with the whole UI situation going on right now. Until I get that truly fixed, I don't want to commit to anything and then have to back out or not do a very good job with it. But if you have that as a suggestion, please feel free to suggest it. I'm not saying no to it just yet. I'm just covering my own arse, basically, in case someone complains. And trust me, someone always complains whenever I make a video. Especially when someone requests it. Someone else always then pipes in with, oh, why did you do this? I'm not a huge fan of that. But overall, I think this is a good opportunity to ask you guys for what you want to see for episode 100. I think I've left just enough time. By the time this video goes out and the next video goes out and the one after that goes out, I should have some ideas to then actually have enough time to go stop. Sorry, my alarm going off as well. I should have enough ideas to actually go and record episode 100 and have enough time to edit it all before it goes up on the channel. So yeah, thank you for the feedback in advance. Thank you for the ideas in advance as well. I really want to see an active comment section. It's a little bit disappointing still, I won't lie, that we're getting almost 300 views in the first 2 weeks of these videos going live now. And yet we still only get like 1, maybe 2 comments. I cannot believe that there aren't things you guys want to say in the comment section or on the Discord even. So if you haven't yet joined the Discord, the link is in the description down below. Please do join. Everyone there is very warm, very welcoming. We've all got really good ideas, really good conversation topics. Please get involved. I have this thing myself when I join Discords for the first time, and I think, oh, it's a bit difficult to actually join in the conversation. Please do. Just hold your breath, take the plunge. You will be welcomed. There's always good stuff to talk about. If you've got anything to contribute to the conversation as well, definitely do that. I'm always looking to see new people get involved. I always think that's the most rewarding thing about what I do. Likewise, if you have a comment on the video, please do comment it down below. If you're talking about the UI, I do already know about that. I'll probably tell you that I already know about that. But if you want to talk about anything that's mentioned during the recording, or anything you see on screen, if you have any questions about the new GRFs I use, or just the game in general, if you want to know where to download the map from, you can do that from M4Jmedia.com. But yeah, I want to see as many people as possible getting involved in the chat and the comments and just everything like that. It'll be really, really awesome to see more people getting involved. It's all about interactivity. The key to YouTube. Everyone says they have cracked the code with YouTube and how to build a channel and how to get more interaction and things like that. And it is that word. It's interaction. So you can share a video as many times as you like. You can hit the like button, things like that. And then comments. That's how a channel grows. That's how the algorithm grabs hold of a video and pushes it to the forefront of everyone's homepage. It's about how much interactivity it gets. So please do comment, please do like, please do share. It all helps and it's all appreciated, and it all means a lot to me as well. So if you care about me, please do share. That's really bad. That's like emotional blackmail. I don't want to get involved in that. Anyway, there was another really good point that I wanted to make, and I've completely forgotten what it was. Oh yes, no, I do remember what it was. So last week's video, I had a comment from Master Trams asking if I'd heard of a guy called Gareth Dennis. Yes, I have. He's been mentioned to me before. And I kind of want to make a point about that, because I've come across in the past as being quite negative towards other people. I always feel like it's encroaching on my territory, but it's really not. If anything, it's the other way around. But yeah, I've heard of people like Gareth. I've also heard of Nodrog, and I always forget people's names. There's another guy who does London Underground type videos. Not Jago Hazard. I know about him. He's very good, by the way. If you haven't checked him out, I strongly suggest you do. There's another guy whose name I can't remember, and I really do feel bad about that. But he does sort of like the history of type videos as well. And I've kind of been watching a lot of their content, sort of to see what else is out there, but also to see what kind of conversation topics are being discussed. And that's how I've been forming some of my conversation topics for my videos. I neither agree nor disagree with most of these people, specifically the opinionated videos where they talk about, is this a good idea? Is this a bad idea? Should this happen? We all have our own opinions, and that's what's great. So, you know, I've watched some of the stuff and I've checked out some of what they've had to say, and some of it I'm like, yeah, that's a really good point, actually. I agree with that. And then some of it is I'm more along the lines of, why the hell did they say that? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And I'm sure people say that with my stuff too. If they don't, then I'm worried, because some of the stuff I come out with is incredibly dumb. But one thing I'm not a fan of is people telling me that I have to watch things. There's something I've always been against in my life. So I've never watched Game of Thrones, partially because people told me I had to watch Game of Thrones because of how good it was. And then I was sat there laughing in my chair when then the final season aired and everyone was like, what the hell was this? Similar things, like most TV shows that I've watched that were considered mainstream when they were on, I've tended to watch them like several years after they finished, just so I can see it from my own eyes and not through everyone else's. I don't like being told how to feel and what to do and things like that. I used to hate it. I don't know anyone else who did English at school in the exams, but you used to always be asked, what was the author thinking when they wrote this? And then you'd come up with your answer, like, oh, I think they were trying to convey this. I think they were trying to reflect upon their childhood, whatever it might be, and the teacher would be like, no, this is what they were actually thinking. And at that point you think, well, it's not really a black or white answer, is it? It's very subjective. I think they were thinking this, you think they were thinking that. The only way we can find out is to ask them, and 9 times out of 10 you'll ask an author what they were doing and they'll just say, oh, I don't know, I thought it was cool, so I wrote it. There is no right or wrong answer to these things. And I think that's the point I'm trying to make here, is there is no right or wrong answer to, especially the rail industry. You've got people who work in the industry. So apparently Gareth Dennis is a track alignment engineer and railway writer. He's far more qualified to talk about the rail industry than I am. I have no qualifications in the rail industry whatsoever. I do have an engineering diploma, but that's by the by. However, some of the things I've heard him say in the past, I don't agree with. And some of the things that people have told me he said in the past, I also don't agree with. And I imagine if he saw some of my videos, he would also not agree with some of what I've said. So I think the key thing to remember here is there is no right or wrong. There is just opinions. So when people comment saying you should check out this guy, he's the best person to talk to for this kind of thing, I kind of sit there and think, is he though? Is he? Like, yeah, he might be a writer, he might be qualified, he might be a successful writer even in that instance, but does that necessarily mean that his opinion is valued more than mine? I don't know. But it's someone definitely worth networking with in the future and sharing opinions with and sharing ideas, because we also agree on a lot of things. I don't really know where I had no end game for this conversation topic. I just wanted to bring it up because Gareth's name's been mentioned a lot, and it's kind of getting to the stage now where it almost looks like I'm ignoring him, and I'm not. I'm really not. But I just wanted to mention the fact that, yes, I'm aware he exists. I probably would love his videos were I to actually have the time to sit and watch them. But also, there will be times where I don't agree with things that are said, and I don't want to be crucified by the audience for saying that I don't agree. So I'm kind of, again, covering my own back before I need to necessarily. But yeah, keep the comments rolling in. Keep the suggestions rolling in. I'm by no means saying stop suggesting things, because I love seeing the ideas. Everything on this network at some point was a viewer suggestion. So do keep those suggestions rolling in. It's always valuable to have the community be part of the project. As I've said before, I'm working on some things right now that I sound like one of these hipster people right now, because I keep mentioning these projects and then saying, but I can't talk about them. I genuinely can't talk about them. I wish I could. But part of what we're doing is beta testing, and that's so important. And I consider my network, the M4J network, to be like a beta test. It's nowhere near finished. We're if anything, we're still in alpha, because right now I build things and then have to go back and completely redo them because I botch it. But 9 out of 10 things you see on this network were at one point suggested to me in a comment. I take no credit for most of it whatsoever. I take the idea, I might tweak it slightly, combine it with someone else's idea, and then create a final product. But overall, I'm very, very bad at coming up with ideas completely from scratch. I always have to look for inspiration somewhere. And again, you'll see that. The freight terminal I build next week, most of it was improvised, but it was based on ideas that people have suggested in the past. So do keep those suggestions coming in. It really does mean a lot. And please, please, please let me have as many suggestions as possible for what you want to see for episode 100, because it's getting so close. So close. So close. And I'm going to be recording footage in the meantime that may or may not end up being future episodes after episode 100. So I'll renumber them as we go along. So some things might not make sense when you watch them, but just bear that in mind. They were recorded weeks, if not months prior. But yeah, I think I want to wrap up this video here, guys. I've talked for almost half an hour, which is incredible, because I looked at the clock just now and it's 17 minutes. And I was kind of padding a little bit, and then I talked for ages about other content creators. I will start compiling a list of creators that I watch who talk about rail, purely so that I can credit them properly in the future. But also, if you like my stuff and you want to see the real rail industry being talked about, then these are the best people to talk about. Or if you like history videos, or if you like future project videos as well, do check them out. And I'll start compiling a list. If anyone else has creators that they wish to share, I might create a Discord channel specifically for that, so we can all share our favorite creators and go and check them out. Because at the end of the day, everyone on YouTube needs a shout out every now and then, so it's always worth doing. But yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Sorry if I've waffled on a little bit too long there. Please do hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and of course if you're enjoying the series. Drop those comments down below, like I said, episode 100, feedback on the ideas, all that good stuff. You will see that idea again next episode. I'll talk about it a lot more. I think you see me build the new freight terminal and the first satellite. I think, yeah, the best way of saying it is we have a hub and spoke wheel design for the main network, and then each terminal then becomes its own hub and spoke design as well. I think that's the best way of describing it, and you should see how that works next week. If not, it'll be the week after. But yeah, keep those comments coming in. It really does mean a lot. Join the Discord, join the Reddit, share screenshots, videos, all that good stuff. It all means a lot as well. Besides all that, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. If you have already subscribed to the channel, thank you guys for your continued support. And until next time, I will see you soon.